Greetings and welcome to In Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. Rodrigo Sanchez, he hails from Jackson Trace, Buenos Aires. Now, his mother, Joseann Matthews, she homeschooled him to 7 subjects at the age of 14. Fast forward, he just graduated from Costat with a Bachelor of Science degree in Internet Technology. He and his mother join us now to discuss their journey. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us, Rodrigo. Thank you for joining us, Joseann. And I want to start off, let's start off with you, Rodrigo. How do you feel? Congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you very much, Damon. I feel really great. Actually, it's a blessing to have the honor to bestow um, this milestone to my family. Being one of the first in my close circle of family to achieve this educational um, milestone. So just the fact that how happy and how proud it has made my family. Um, my aunt who came down from America to be a part of the event and all that is just really overwhelming and everything. So um, just glad that I could make it happen.
And thank you for that, sharing that. And Joseann, I want to ask, looking at this point now, turn back and take me to the point or take me through the process of saying, we're going to homeschool now. Because I'm sure more people are on one side of the fence than the other. But take me through that process. What's going through your mind? What's happening? What it is you're seeing to lead you to this decision?
That process was one where I saw Rodrigo was underproducing, right? And I didn't make that immediate stance. I tried other things first. So I would have went to the school, asked, can he be placed into another class? He's not performing to the standard that I know he can perform. I would have spoken to the principal many times. Like every time I go to the principal, he was a really cool guy to speak with, but I wasn't getting results. And I'm a results oriented parent. So after a while, I become like, okay, this is my responsibility, and I have to make a decision as to how I could get results from Rodrigo. And I had just resigned, indicating to them where I was working, I was doing security, and I indicated to them, I want to be home with my sons because I'm leaving at dark and returning at dark. And I figured I'd do a better job being at home. So I had that conversation at the table with Rodrigo, and I said, we're going to sacrifice time for money. I'm going to have less money, but more time. So we now have to press. We have to do more. What would you like to do? He indicated but he had like games. So he indicated he wanted to make games, do coding, and I said like, no, you should do electrical. And with that, we proceeded. I did what he wanted to do. I did the research, but I always had the conversation with him. I had the conversation with the principal. I had the conversation with him, and I said, "This is what we're going to do, because I know that you can perform greater than you are performing now." And that's how the process started. And he worked with me. Many people tell him his mother was crazy. He knows, but he stuck with me.
And there's a point I want to go because I'll come back to you just now, Rodrigo. But look, that point you're saying you're having conversations with Rodrigo, Joseann, as opposed to saying, I think I know what's best for you. We're going to do that. How important, actually, let me ask you that, Rodrigo. How important was it that your mother would ask you these things as opposed to tell you, hey, this is what you're going to do it?
I think it definitely helped ease me into the process instead of just throwing me into the ocean to swim, and learn to swim. Um, I think just having a bit of clarity, okay, this is the plan, this is what we're gonna do. I think it's crazy, but hey, like we give it a shot, you know. And yeah, and the rest is history.
And this is at what age?
But definitely I was 14,
It was 13.
13,
We
14 at the time.
registered at age 13, September. He was 13. So the exams is in June. So he turned 14 in January. So he sat the exams at 14, but he started studying at 13.
And looking at that, what was that process like? What was the biggest difference for you, Rodrigo, in terms of saying, okay, well, in the traditional school system versus doing it at home? Was it pace? Was it the amount of time that you're able to spend on a particular subject? Because sometimes in terms of like, okay, well, the class for this subject is this amount of minutes long. What was the biggest change or difference for you?
There was definitely a lot more freedom, because I have a lot more time for myself, and I could schedule how I want to work on things on my own time. And besides that, because we are doing like you say a focused amount of subjects in school, you probably have like 9, 10 different things that you're doing at the same time. But when you kind of just break it down to like you say 5 to 7 at a time, then you could really refocus that amount of this extra time that you have into those particular subject areas, and you really do get a lot more out of it that way.
Yeah. You have experience doing this, Joseann?
No experience. So the process that would have sound crazy to people, and I still tell them to this day. If the child is not giving you 10 subjects, break it down to something that is bite size. So that's what I told Rodrigo, bite size. We're going to do 5 subjects. I want maths and English. And we just chose random, not I could say random subjects, but because of his age, I chose read easy subjects. So like social studies, HSB, OA. Those were read subjects. They weren't subjects he was doing in school, but I knew they were subjects we could read and get over it. And that now would have built his confidence to move on to the IT subject, which also he was not exposed to in school. So we really broke it down to bite size. The process was simple. I'm a pretty easy parent to deal with. Um, I needed 4 hours schoolwork, and he had 2 hours of game, and that was it. You gave me 4 hours schoolwork, 45 minutes per subject, maybe a little more for maths, and he had 2 hours game, and then he got to rest, and he used to swim and represent the school, and also I can't remember the name of the swimming team in Point, forgive me. He would help me there. He was a swimmer, so he would get to rest, like he said, he had a lot of free time, and then go to swimming on evenings.
And do you feel a sense of responsibility, Rodrigo, saying that, okay, well, mom actually listening to me and giving me the opportunity to do this, so I need to show that I worth it, I could do this.
Definitely, there was a sense of responsibility, because I mean it was just both of us at it, and she wasn't really, let's say, a teacher or anything per se. So it was us helping each other out, figuring things out together. What she understand better, she shows to me. What I may understand better, I show it to her, and we work together as. Yeah, I have a certain amount of responsibility, but I think there was a lot of shared responsibility there as well.
True. A lot of teamwork.
And that teamwork is really important. But we take a short break, we come back with more, because and I really want to continue this conversation and find out how it is you're built out from there, because you weren't on CSEC, you weren't on those subjects forever, and we're actually celebrating the fact that you would have graduated from Costa. So we get onto that side of the story when we return. Stay with us, we come back with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Rodrigo Sanchez as well as Joseann Matthews. Rodrigo would just have graduated from Costa, a Bachelor of Science degree in internet technology. So we spoke a little bit, and this is doing it outside of the traditional school system. Uh,
Mhm.
I heard people talking about, "Wait, your mother crazy or you crazy." What was that process like? Is it that just getting him out of the school? What was the conversation with the principal? Like you said, he was easy to speak with, Joseann Matthews, but uh, easy to talk to and taking his son out of the school might be two different things. So what was that like for you?
I'm slightly a bit bold when coming to my children. So I'm a matter of fact type of parent. So I say I will be keeping my son home for 2 to 3 days and homeschool him. And he was like, no, you don't need to do that. We can give him counseling if you need counseling. I said, you can do that if you would like, but he would be home for 2 to 3 days a week to improve these grades. And we did that. We saw the great improvements in the grades. And then after a while, one of the teachers was like, well, you have to write a letter. I said, no problem. We'll write a letter every time he's absent. And we did just that. We wrote a letter every time he was. And after a while, we were improving so much that he just stayed home. He just stayed home and nobody made a fuss. He just stayed home and we progressed. I did not take him out of this school because I wanted him to complete his subjects and I wanted him to also represent the school in swimming. So he was still beneficial to the school. The only time I signed him out of the school is when he had the entire 7 subjects and he needed to start custard. With that also, I also seek counsel again from the principal. I said, he now has these 7 subjects. Should he do A's? This is what he wants to do. He wants to do IT. Should he do A's or should he go to Costa because we had already visited Costa. We had visited Sam's. I'm like a on the road type of parent. I took him everywhere, see what everybody have, see what we could afford and see what we could manage. And the principal said to me, a degree trump is, don't waste time. And we just found out that, well, all you need is 5 subjects to start a degree. And we went straight into it.
Um, what was that process like, Rodrigo, in the sense that from where you were, then to getting the sense of freedom to be able to do what it is you're doing with these read-only subjects, and then you're at Costard. What was that? I don't know if to say re-entry, but that that process of going through Costard, what was that like for you starting back, being in a classroom?
Um, I mean, first of all, the whole entry to university and stuff was pretty surreal because it's like, I'm 15 years old, starting, and everyone is pretty much older than me. There's nobody my age, but I think I think I made that transition pretty smoothly, and I think one of the biggest, well, the greatest benefits from that as well, from starting the school system again, is socializing, because the homeschool and thing, you kind of don't get that social factor because you're kind of just home with your family. But back out in school, you got to make friends and you got to socialize, the teachers, everything. I think so that social aspect played a really helped the transition be a little easier for me.
Okay, and was it a matter of traveling to class, being further or being closer to the school, away from home? What was that like? Because I was also thinking that, like you said, that age. So what was that like?
Yeah, I have been a pretty independent person. I've been traveling a lot throughout my life, and also there's the other benefit that I do have family that lives close to the different campuses. So the South Campus, for Custard, I have family in San Fernando. So if things get a little rough, like if it's I have a night course, late night course, I would stay overnight by my family, my aunt, um, and yeah, and we made it work essentially. We just made it work.
And sometimes it's said that it takes a village. Who are some of the other people that you would have leaned on a little bit? I see a nod in your head. I feel like I should pass around a collection, play Joseann. Who are some of the other people in the village?
Um, Definitely, my grandmom has been a pillar. My aunt and Anastasia Francois. My mom, of course. I have family, extended family
Uncle
in
Glenford.
Shogunas, Uncle Glenford, Uncle Michael. Um, they they have really been pivotal in the success that I have. Even if it's not blood related family, we have really close friends who have became like family. Cleveland Williams is one of those persons for us. Foundational members really that really helped. Like you said, that village. Because and a wise man once said to me, um, no man is an island, and obtaining this degree. Yes, I am the one who's obtaining that certificate, but I definitely did not do it alone.
Definitely. I see you nodding, Joseann. Is there anybody else you want to add to that group?
My mom, my sister, Uncle Glenford and Shaguanas, as he said, Cleveland Williams. I would have to insert Mark Barker there as well. You know, these are key people, my sisters, my two sisters, my family. They are just the foundation. And these names that we called, because we live in a rural area and I was unemployed, and I still am for the last 9 years, it was just people, they had his back. They had his back. Like he says, sometimes you have to go to the Port of Spain campus. He sleep in Chaguanas, not a problem. He has to go to San Fernando and he have to come home late. And you know that you see in the age, he was very young, right? And he's my baby. So my sister had his back. And like I told them the night of his graduation, they are just so instrumental to him not giving up, and for me not having to worry too much about him being out there doing what he has to do.
And Rodrigo, how you feel now? Well, I want to ask both of y'all because saying, okay, well, mommy's saying to do electrical, but you say no, this is the way you want to go. And even like looking, I remember somebody telling me, especially like during the pandemic, is like IT engineers and people involved in these things that it's almost as though they're the new wave of, I don't want to say doctors, but people looking at them the same way.
Yeah.
So how you feel saying, okay, well, you were this is what you wanted to do and you were able to do what you wanted to do and you're seeing the need and everybody wants these individuals now.
Yes. COVID was a hard time for a lot of people, but 2020, I believe, was probably one of the greatest years for me. School transition to online, and I was able to get opportunities to work in a web company, Golden Web Solutions, part time. So I was actually able to now work and go to school. I was working pretty much in my field, building websites for this company. And yeah, from there, everything just kind of snowballed the following year. So that was 2020. I was 18. I started working at Colon Web Solutions. The following year, I got a position as a web developer at Rams Logistics. And I can't see myself doing anything else, honestly. There's not no other job. Like recently, someone asked me what would my dream job be, because usually when you graduate, because I've been working at Rams Logistics for 2 years now. Usually when you graduate, you're still looking to get your job, etc., etc. So someone asked me what's my dream job, and I said, well, technically, I already have my dream job. Being a software engineer now at Rams Logistics. So definitely, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change a thing.
And from interacting with the crew at Rams Logistics, Sean and everyone else, it seems as though is a great place to be forward thinking, looking outside of Trinidad and Tobago and just increasing what it is they're doing in terms of quality and providing that service. But just before we close though, Joseann, talk to the person, and it might be an individual, student themselves, or that caregiver who's saying, I think I want this for my child. What would you tell them? But they're still kind of hemming and hawing, wondering if this is the course they should take. What would you tell that person?
There's a solution to every problem. And when you have a child in your care, whether it's your child, your grandchild, your niece, your nephew, you find that way. And homeschooling is an option. The school system has its place, as Rodrigo says. Some you need socializing, and some children do very well. But if you see that your child needs something more, and that something more could be right home, just individual help. Just you see how we are sitting next to each other. That's usually how we work at a table, a kitchen table. So sometimes when people say we don't have space, we don't have money, there's a floor. You can work on the floor, you can work on a table. You just have to make time for your child. Then they have the other excuse, well, I'm not educated. Well, I was not very educated, but I'm wise enough to know that if I help my child, the other generation is going to do better. So I'm saying to parents, stop making excuses. Take bite size. If you can't do 5 subjects, work with 2, work with 3. If you are employed and you can't afford to leave your job, then pay someone to help your child individually, because the results will only be to the best of your family and the other children coming behind. It could only do good. And that's what happened. That's what happened with Rodrigo. I left my job, but everybody can't do that, because leaving your job, that's a whole next scene. But make time. There's something so valuable in time. They say time is money. It's expensive. Make time. And another thing that people need to do as well, children that are going to school, it's so valuable to sit, create that bond, and do things like home lesson and stuff like that. Just work together. A lot of what Rodrigo and I did was work together. I didn't know everything, but we work together and we reason. So sometimes it don't have to be a straight jacket strategy. And you try not listening, you try not learning. Work with the child, and you'll be surprised how much you can learn along the way as well.
With that, we want to thank you both, Joseann Matthews and Rodrigo Sanchez. Congratulations once more. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.